Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, the idea of sort of being forced into an ambassador sort of position as an acquired injury, because it was something that I was suddenly introduced into, that I'd been living my life, nobody ever asked me anything, and suddenly I was just being asked tons of questions. And I have to admit, at first it was really difficult, more or less because it was just difficult for me to work through it myself, like just try to understand and comprehend the massive change that happened in my life. And I've also had, times where I ended up with an experience like being invisibly injured, and I'm able to walk. So I've used handicap parking spots or accessible parking spots.
That's totally
There
fine.
you go. There it is.
Again, I'm not offended because it's the intention, right?
It makes you think now, right?
Yeah. So I use those spots. I try not to use them as when I don't absolutely have to, because I know that the space requirements for people with chairs is different. Yeah. But sometimes I do need to use. I don't have a lot of energy. I need to get in and out. And I had somebody once actually like look at me and be like, "You're not disabled. What are you doing in that parking spot?" And this was fairly soon after my accident, and I ended up crying, and it was just really upsetting and really, hurtful. And I was like, "This isn't fair. I shouldn't have to explain myself to strangers."
Yeah.
But now that some time has passed, and I think I've got a better understanding of it, and I feel like I'm better able to communicate with people and these things. But for me, it's questions I love. If somebody's going to ask me something, I am 99.9% of the time going to be appreciative and responsive, unless I'm really having a bad day, which is fine as well, because we all do. We're all people. But I'm more likely to just I'm sorry. I'm having I don't have to say anything. I don't really feel like talking right now. I apologize. I got to go. And that has happened. They're like, okay.
And these people who are confronting Christina, they're there for people with disabilities, right? They're there.
That's the ironic part, yeah.
Sorry?
That's the ironic part.
Yes, yeah, they're there to make sure that those spots are available, and it's tough because
it's difficult to tell,
right?
Yeah.
So that's exactly it that I want to say. I appreciate that you're advocating for people with disabilities, but you got to be a little bit more cautious because you don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
Maybe ask the question next time.
Yeah.
If you're really concerned, like, do you have the placard? Are you legally entitled to this spot?
Can you show some certification?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and just be cautious about it. Just think it through a little bit and try. Like, anyone who's ever attacked me, that's been the worst.
Yeah.
I was traveling to the States once a little while ago, and I was stubborn and I wasn't asking for any help, so I hadn't told anyone that I had a disability because I could do it on my own. And the airports are massive.
Yes.
And I was fatiguing out fast, like I was going downhill. And I had actually had a backpack on, and I got to, I guess it was the customs line. I can't even remember what line it was, but it was huge. And I was like, I can't. There's no opportunity for me to sit at any point in here. I just can't do this. So I went to the accessible spot that had no line, and the guy was like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, well, I have a spinal cord injury. I can't handle the lineup. It's too difficult trying to explain myself. He's like, "You're not disabled."
Oh,
and
boy.
I so badly wanted to ream this guy out. Like, I wanted to rip him some new holes. But he was also in between me and my flight. So I was like, you might be able to stop me entering your country. So, look, I have ID. Could you please? And he was like, "You're wearing a backpack. You're not disabled." And I was like, "Oh, are you kidding me? Because that's the defining factor? Really? That's where you're coming at me from?" Anyway, then the next guy over, he actually looks over and he yells quite loudly, "What's she doing in that lineup?" And by this point, everybody is looking at me. And I know that a lot of people in this lineup are going to be like, "Whoa, what a bitch. This young girl is just like trying to totally take advantage and just like get in front of us." And I'm just like wanting so badly to just curl up into this tiny little ball. And I was just like, "But please, I have ID." Like, I'm not making this up. And I'm like, "Can I show you my ID?" And he's like, "No, it's fine." And he processes me through. And then I kind of limp past, and the other guy goes, "Oh." And I'm just like, and I...
Oh, as in like, they realize? Or
Yeah.
oh, as in like she's faking it?
No, she's clearly got, an injury going on here.
Yeah.
And mind you, that's the only visible part in my limp. Never mind the pain, the fatigue, there's layers underneath that they have no clue about. So anyway, I walk in and I was just crushed. I sat down, I bawled my eyes out for a good 5 minutes because that sucked. And I really didn't feel like I could advocate for myself properly because of the situation, and I didn't want them to stop me from my flight.
Yeah.
But then that's where the positive attitude comes in. I cried. I got it out. I forgave myself for crying, and then I got up and got on my flight.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's people who attack me. Those are the ones that I take issue with.
Yeah.
People who ask me questions, as long as you're polite about it, ask away. I'm totally down for it, and if I'm not, I'll tell you.